this one. Okay, so for now, we're going to continue on with the lab activities. And for this modules, we already covered some on the lectures, as well as we will cover some on the lab activities. At the lab activity and exercises, I'm hoping that you will continue using your computer on your end with whatever we are learning, so you could practice it on your computer as well. That's what the lab time is for. So in order to do that one, if you go back to the modules for today topic, let's say lab list of free software for today, which is week of 2. This agenda for today's Thursday, we will go through the lab activity and basically open a Python session. If you have not installed Python yet, go ahead, do the Python installation on your system by going to python.org and then download, like I showed you, the python.executable, run it, and it will just make your session like mine with Python 3.5 running on a Windows platform. So once you run it, if you just do a Python-V or Python, it will drop you to a Python 3.8 interactively. Try to do that one first and make sure that you could run Python. If you have any question, ask me in the question on that one. And if you're good with it, then we will just assume that you're going to repeat the steps that we're covering on Python for this session. Let me just move back to chapter 76, just Thursdays. So if you open this agenda for today, Thursday topic, and we'll tell you for the lab activities that you will be doing these kind of programs. But start with Python first. Make sure you download the Python by going download python.org. I'll show you right here one more time. So just go to, let's say, on the website, you go to python.org and click on downloads. After you click on downloads, you will see that 3.8. And then based on your platform, you can download, since you're using Windows, you can go on Windows in 3.58. So if you go on Windows and you just download the 3.58 version, you're good to go with the latest version. And then execute that one, run it, and it will install Python. Once you run that Python, you will have this version running, like I did here. Okay, everybody please do that one. And then once you're in the Python interpreter, start learning by practicing these commands, which is right here, help, directory, import math as M, and then try to do these commands like I mentioned, dir of M, type of M, help, and py. Practice all of this one by one. So if I just do it and you want to see it, basically, let me minimize this window. This window is minimized and put it at this corner. So if you do the import here, so I want to clear my screen first. Print new line character times 50 this. Remember I was telling you that you could write a function to print that line. So if I want to just write a function to do that one, let's say I went to help here. This is how you get help, and you type in keywords, and then you just exit out of that one by pressing enter. Now you want to clear your screen, and instead of doing this print statement here, this is a simple things that you could do that one. But if you want to just type in like the operating system CLS, and then if you want to do this, it will not work now because you don't have a function called clear screen. But you could do in Python something, say def clear screen, and then you define that function clear screen, and then right here you put that print statement the way you did it on the command line. So as simple as that, you could just write your own function to do the clear screen. So next time, write it once and run it as many times as you want to do it. That's what Python is for. So def, and then this one, the no code, by accident, when I press enter, I just did that one. So now if I just say clear screen there, it will clear my screen. Every time I recall it, it is going to do it. So inside here, as I say help, and then I'm just exit out of this one. Now I don't have to do a print statement because that clear screen is there for me. If I exit out of this one, then I come back here. Now I say clear screen is not going to work because that function is not there. In order for me to do that one, then I could just say, let's say Adam, and then say clear screen.py. I could write a module in Adam, and then write the clear screen, and then do that one. So let's just do that one. If you want to do this, and you say this, and then here, I could just write. I could write my function, and then notice that I'm writing it for Windows. So I'm going to put my first line, and then I say purpose, and then I'm going to say to clear my screen every time I call it. And then this function is just a function name. I don't have to say the author in this case, but I could say written by Wahid. Okay, so it doesn't matter. And then date, you could say date, and then what date. If you have to modify it later, you could do that one. So today is 9/3/2020. You could write it and then say def clear screen. You could call it whatever you want, my clear screen or whatever. CLS is much easier. You could also do like import OS and then do the OS calls, depending on whether it's Windows or Linux. But you could just do as simple as that, or if you want to do it, many ways you can do it. So if I just say import OS here, and then right here say os.system, I just say, for example, fos.name colon, let's say is if os.name is equal nt, then do os.system and then write the clear screen command. Okay, so here this one is going to be 4 characters space, and then do else part, and notice that Adam automatically helped me with indentation. So os.system, and then the else part I could say lf os.system is equal os.name is equal POSIX, which is Linux, POSIX, and then do os.system, run the clear command. So whether it's POSIX, whether it's Mac, Linux, or Unix, it will be POSIX. It will run the Linux command. And then the else part, no matter which one is it, any other operating system that I'm not supporting it, I could write my own function, say print this with new line character, but run it 50 times, and that's good enough to clear the screen. And that's there. So then I could say clear screen, call it. After I'm done with it, I could just say call it here, call it. And then this one will just run this. Now if I just save this one, save, and then the directory I perceived it called it clear screen.py. I don't like it to put it on my downloads. I'm going to move this one to my lectures stuff. So let me just go to cd to pasadena.edu, cd to star fall session, and then go to lectures, and then bring that that file, move from the C colon users Wahid and downloads. Since it's uppercase, lowercase on Windows is okay, I wrote Wahid in lowercase, doesn't matter. So clear screen.py was the name I wanted to move, and then the name of where I want to move it is a dot here, and now cls.py is moved here. So now if I type in cls.py, it is going to, if I run it clear screen.py, it will clear the screen, but then notice that it has a syntax error. So now I have to fix the syntax first. POSIX else if os.name is equal POSIX, and then return. So why is that an error? Let me double check on this. So inside Atom, else if this is there, lf host name. Unindented, so the indentation is off on there. Let me see why the indentation is off. Else os is name POSIX. And then os.set. Does not match any identical level. lf os.name is equal. Somehow the indentation is off, even though it is not off here. Okay, yeah, actually it is off. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Save as. This time I'm going to save as, so I override it to a different directory rather than the downloads. PC users Wahid pasadena.edu fall 2020, and then lectures, and name it clear screen.py. Yes. So let's do run this one. Okay. This is type it. Python. Okay. So it was an indentation, and I corrected it. And then now notice that if I just have this screen and I want to run it, it is going to clear my screen. That's what this program is supposed to do. So this one, If I run it without the CLS, without Python, it still will clear my screen. So if I just say Python here, and then say help here, now I say import clear screen, then automatically will do that for me. Now, if I do a dir of this, notice that clear screen is a module that is available. Dir of CLS is going to just say these are other things that is available for the CLS itself. So CLS.cls also is going to clear the screen as a method. I could also say from CLS import CLS. This is the module name, and then the CLS is the function name. So now I say dir, I have the CLS method. So CLS, I could call it without the CLS.cls. So if I say help here, and then exit out of this, and then now do a clear screen, and there it's going to work. The nice thing about having that module available, I could repeatedly call it. I don't have to say, let me write a function. Now it is already in the cls.py. It is already available. I could do repeatedly. If I want to just use this method, cut and paste it, and then move it in my Linux environment, let's say copy this one, and then I just go to Linux environment, and then cd to Python here, and then say, let's say, make directory lectures. So, okay, I had to be root on that permissions. I created, let me sudo dash. I'm gonna change the permission so I could, I don't have to be root on it. Home wlutfi. And the thing with Python itself is the root, honors root. So I'm gonna change that one to change honor -r recursively wlutfi :wlutfi Python. Everything with Python. Now on the Python directory, I just change it to, instead of root, it's wlutfi. Inside the contents of the file is also ownership of wlutfi, because I put that dash uppercase R, recursively changed it. So now if I just go here and I just write that function vi cls.py, and I say I for insert, and then right here I just paste that line of code. But notice this one, the first one is for Windows. I'm going to do user ben env Python. Now that one is syntax of this. So I import OS, if clear screen, if OS is NT, then here this one is going to do run the clear screen command. But then this one is POSIX, it's OS is going to just do that one. So now change mode 755 cls.py. Now that it's executable, cls.py will just clear my screen. And then if I just do pwd-ls-l, date, calendar command, uname -a, anything I want to do at this time, I just say clear the ./cls.py, automatically is running the clear command for me. I could also add more things on it to just say what operating system I'm doing it and everything, but that's another task or function that you want to accomplish. In this case, I just wanted to do a clear screen. I could have just say cat clear screen.py, where I just did this if statement. I could say, okay, type in the command of that operating system first, and then run the os.clear command afterward. So for example, let's say on this one, I say vi cls.py. I could just say if os is this, clear the screen command, and then type in the content of this file itself. cls. Go ahead, type in cat, in this case is type cls.py. So, and then in this one, I'm going to do this one. So YY, and then after I clear screen, I'm going to do cat and that command, since Linux. So notice that I'm saying if it is a Windows environment, clear the screen, then type the cls.py command from the directory where the code is actually running. If this one is not found in this next file, it will say file not found. But since I'm doing it from the same modules and the source code is there, it will work. But it is not portable for other platforms, so unless you just force your path to the environment also. So in this case, if I just say .cls.py, it will clear the screen, then it will concatenate the name of the script. Notice this one is doing a bin unv, right? So here on the Atom file, and then I could just do the same thing. Let's say clear the screen and then os.system and then type cls.py, and then here os.system and then cat cls.py. So this one is going to work, but notice the difference. This one is a Windows NT, NT operating system. So if I just run the clear screen here, okay, so now watch this one, because I'm on a Windows platform. If I just do cls.py, it's gonna just clear my screen and it's gonna show me this version, which is different than the Unix version. Notice the only difference in this line, these are the same. The only difference is the first line here. The first line is #bang Python, and then on the Unix environment, here, if I just run it there, the first line is benenv Python, because it execute on the Unix is when os.name is POSIX, and here it execute the statement when os.name is empty. So I just was trying to make sure that you get the concept of different OS with different command lines, as well as running these codes on different platforms. And if you have question, please ask me. I'm here for you to help you and mentor you throughout the process. So import math as M, you could practice that one, type help. M.py will just print the Python. Like if I just do that one, let's say on this environment, I say Python, and then import math as M, then I do a dir of M. So these are the things that I want you to do in the lab activity. Type of M, so you understand what's going on there. Help on M, you'll get all the modules, help and everything. Similar on Windows, you can do that one. It doesn't matter whether you're doing on this. M.py will print the same value for both. And print M.py is the same thing. And the print M.epsilon value, whatever other ones that you want to print, and do that one, like M.power of 2 to the power of 9, let's say 512. It will print, and then the 10 is 1024, and so on. You could do like get a square root of that one, and this will print 10, because to the power of, no, actually it's 1024. So this one is not going to be exactly 10, is what something, but m dot square root to 32, and if you just to the power of 10. And then let's say make this one not 10, square root of 100, and just have the parameter accordingly, and then right like that. And then if you just did 1000, it's 31 square root of that, and then 100,000 would be 100. because 100 times 100 is 100,000. So power of 100, let's say, for example, like you did the power function here, power of 100 to the power of 4 would be a big number. 3 would be 1,000, a million, and 2 would be 100, and with 4 digit. Yeah, 10,000. So you could practice those ones, create variables and assign something, and then get the data type, the type of the method that you define. If x is equal true, now this type will return Boolean. If x is equal 1, it will return an integer, and so on. We practiced those ones earlier. And then you could also create a tuple. So my tuple is equal, let's say, and the tuple is like this, and then followed by that, followed by 1, followed by 2. So this is going to be my tuple has those elements. My tuple sub 0 will be this, and sub 1 would be that, and sub 2 would be 1, and so on. So you could do my tuple sub, the same thing with the indices to print all of them. We practice that one with the list. The only difference with tuple versus list, list you can change an element. So if I just create my list is equal, and then on tuple you use the left parenthesis, on a list you use the bracket. So if I just say 1, 2, 3, comma, 10, comma, this, and then comma, that, whatever you want to type in, Wahid, there, now I have this list. My list has those elements. Length of my list has all the elements that are there. Length of my list, I typed my list incorrect, okay. It's 7. Length of my tuple is going to be 4 elements. So what difference is that I could change my list sub 0 is currently pointing 1, and I could change that one to have a different value, like let's say hello. And then now I print my list sub 0, and my list, it just has been modified. But if I just say my tuple, this is a tuple that's sort of like read-only kind of values. You could assign them, but you cannot reassign them a different value for the, so if I just say print the sub 0, now if I change this one to hello, it's not going to work. It says tuple object does not support item. It's immutable data type. And so is a string. So if I say my string is equal, this is a test, and then say my string, I say print my string. If I just see it, and then I say print length of my string, it is going to say maybe 12 or 14 characters long in sequence, but I cannot just say, if I just say my string sub 0, I could get the T, and if I do a 1, I could the H, and then I could get the 2, I could get that, and then if I get 3, I get S. So if I just want to do 0, 4, I get the whole this. But now if I want to just, let's say, change this my string sub 2 to something other than I could just change it to uppercase I. It's not going to change it because that's immutable. An indices of that string cannot be changed. But the entire my string, I could just change it to get a value, a 5. My string could be say some other string, say this is not a test. Anything you want to do is you just modified it. But the indices of it, it's immutable, similar to tuples. So these data types, each one of them could be assigned to a variable, and you could manipulate it. There's something on a list, it's called list comprehension, which is very powerful with list manipulation. We will cover that one also. So for example, if I just create a list called L, and then I want to just assign a lot of numbers that I don't want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all of those things with millions numbers, what I could do is say a list L is equal, and then say X for X and range, and then just put the range of elements that I want to do. So if I want to do 10,000 numbers in it, I could just do that. And now L is already having a big number list there. So if I just want to modify that one to a shorter, let's say to 100 numbers, L is now having it. If I want to just make sure that this is only even numbers, power of 2, then I just could do that one. So each number is multiplied to the power of itself, to the power of 2 actually. So 2 to the power of 2 is 4, 3 to the power of 2 is 9, and 4 is 16, and 5 is 25, like that. And if you just want to do it multiply by 2, that's a different number set. So list comprehension is really nice. You could do manipulate it, and we will go in comparison. And then we could do even a if statement here. If x is x mod 2 remainder 1, so we could get the odd number of things to the power of this. Let's say I'm going to just change this one first, and then L, and now we have odd numbers. And if we just wanted the even numbers, this one would be printing the same thing with even numbers. So you could do a lot of things with comparison or, of if statement inside of a list comprehension also, as well as in the start of the loop, you could do that one. So we will revisit a lot of those examples for your learning curves. You could do these kind of things in there. Please practice these ones and let me know if you have any question. Does anybody have any questions so far? We're almost...
No, I'm good.
Good, thank you. Anybody else has any question? Yeah, I hope you are able to install the software that needs to be used, because every week I'm going to introduce you to one type of software, whether it's PyCharm, Adams, or Idle, or Python, or VirtualBox with using Linux or something. You will be exposed to a lot of different environment. So this class is actually going to help you with a lot of other classes much faster and much easier to get to all of it. And sometimes by attending one class, you may just have to get the idea of learning with from other classes as well.
Professor?
Yeah.
So is it okay if I, because I've been practicing on my own using, I think it's called Python project, or PyCharm.
Okay.
Is it okay if we use that, or do you prefer that we use Atom?
Yeah, if you're using PyCharm, that's great. When you say you're helping yourself or working with a group of people, or what is the project work?
I'm honestly just screwing around with it, like figuring out new things as I go along with the material that you've been teaching. So
Okay,
like
great.
functions and stuff.
Okay, so you're using PyCharm?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm gonna just open PyCharm to the class so everybody else is familiar with PyCharm. It is a good tool, is IDE, because one of the term that I put for today's topic is to discuss IDE. IDE basically stands for Integrated Development Environment. What does that mean is that it's an integrated system, a development environment that are put together as number of resources, features together to make your life as a developer easy. That's why it's an environment. It's an environment or a platform, whether you're using PyCharm, Visual Studio Code, let's say Eclipse, or some sort of other IDEs that you could call Microsoft Visual Basic, or Visual Studio Code, or C++, or Java, and that, or all together, they all provide some sort of IDE that you could code. And then PyCharm, and this one is written by JetBrains. The website that if you go on the website to download PyCharm is basically, if I go on Google and search for PyCharm, let me just search for PyCharm. If you search for PyCharm by itself, the first website that comes is jetbrains.com. And jetbrains.com, it has this IDE, integrated development environment. That's very, very nice tool to work with Python. They have Jython and other platform for Java stuff, and Python for C, and Python for Python, PyCharm for Python. If you download it, there's different version of it. There's a professional version and there's a community version. The community version is free. So it says that for you to download the free community version, you click on this one and you get it for your platform. And now you can see it's a professional versus and community version. Since I did it last semester, maybe they haven't upgraded, so I'm going to just say download the community version. So I get the executable that is up to date with everything. So the one that if I go on my download directory, I could compare whether I have this one or an older version. And the way normally I do it on my platforms is under users, Wahid, CD to downloads. There's directory, like if I just search for PyCharm store.exec and then look for subdirectories, this one is basically I moved files that are executable under exec directory. So I have this one, and this one is 10/20/19. So last year I had downloaded this one. Maybe this one is a newer version that the one is coming next. So if I go here and look for PyCharm directory /o:\d and then PyCharm store. This one just came out and it is a different size. So this one most likely is going to be a newer version. You can see that one is 2019 and this one is 2020. So I'm going to run that one to install it. And once you install it, let's just do that one since I downloaded. And then right here, if I say show on the list of the executable directory here, this one is done. And I have the button to, the option to click on it. And then now it's going to open up PyCharm setup installation. And this is my old version. So while that one is running, right here is asking me for some permission. So I gave permission, say, go ahead, do it. And then this one, I believe it ran the second time, so I'm gonna just close this one. I click it twice and open it both times. So if I just close this screen right now, so I could just continue with the installation, that would be better. In this case, I'm just going to say next, copy program files, select the program files version you want to install, uninstall silently. No, I don't want to uninstall. And so sometimes it says PyCharm Community. I don't want to delete this one, delete PyCharm Community. Because some of the files that I actually, the executable files, I don't need it. So I could delete it. Yeah, go ahead, delete it, and then see if I just click uninstall. And it's gonna uninstall the previous version first. Then it's gonna install the newer version. But it's a good thing that whenever you work on IDE environment, don't put your source code on the directory where IDE can just be deleted, and then the source code will be deleted as well. So put your source code on a private location, like I'm putting under my directory Pasadena, and then by school, by class that I do. So some of the files will not be deleted just because I deleted. There's something on Python that we will cover, a module called under the PEP. It's called PEP and ENV. And then we will just do PNV and ENV environment, variable virtual ENV. We will do those ones as well. We will show you how to create a virtual environment and how to put your files in the right location. So this one, it says choose installation directory. I'm going to go with the default one. And 64-bit launcher, add the open folder. I want to just have that one. Create an associate Py extension, that's fine. And then choose a start menu. JetBrains is fine. And then it's doing the install. If I look at the detail, it's going to basically show the extracted files that are being added to my system. So this window actually invoked this other info window. When you are in the process, this is the parent process, this is the child process. When this task completes, the resource is given back to this parent process, and then that parent process decide what to do next. That's how sometimes the installation with install shield and other applications are completing tasks. While this is doing it, anybody else has any other question?
I have a question, Professor.
Yeah, go ahead.
On the upcoming exercise for Think Python, which is kind of like the stuff we're working with now with the math functions, how do we submit that? Do you just want a screenshot?
So anything that is, I'm asking for like a program.py script, basically you just submit your .py script.
This one doesn't, though. This one just says to use the interpreter.
Okay, so if on the interpreter, you could cut and paste the information into a command prompt. If it does say that you can do a screenshot of it, but sometimes the screenshot is not as clean as you want to do. All right. There's a lot of methods you could do with this.
Is copying and pasting it into a text file okay?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of ways you can do it. So on Windows, there's something that I show you this one because from time to time you may just want to do capture things that are thousands of lines, and you just don't want to do capture on a screen. It's going to take you so much of your time, right? So if I just want to, for example, let's say, write a small function to do Python as this, like let's say I say list, as I say one, for example, create a list called x for x and range of let's say 1 million numbers, right? If I do that one, notice that this list, it just gets created that big numbers. But what if this is 100 million numbers and that does some calculation and you're doing a screen capture, it's in multiple screen, it's almost impossible to capture this, right? Every time you cut and paste and then it doesn't fit on one screen. So on that one, Unix is very powerful in that sense. You could just do a script, say capture-info.txt. So from this point on, if I just type in any command I type in, and then type in here, and then go to Python, and then say L is equal X for XN, or XN range 100 million numbers there, it doesn't matter, 10 or whatever number, 1 million numbers, do this, and then print L, and then exit out of this. Now I just type in exit one more time because my capture information is all written into this file. So if I do a more capture-info.txt, notice that all the commands that I typed in is captured for me. And instead of doing a screen capture, how simple this is there, right? So inside Python, whatever I did is captured, as well as outside of the command line, the commands that I did, everything till I got out of it. See? No screen copy, nothing, right? So that's called a script and the command in Unix. So if I just want to do 5 lines, say a script info.txt, and say echo, this is a test, and then say pwd ls minus l, and then exit out, and now say more info.txt, it is there. And then if I just say, oh, I forgot to use one more command like calendar, all right? But I want to send that information. I could do this calendar and double greater sign info.txt, and then now info.txt has all those commands plus the calendar. Or I could just say, I forgot some other command like calendar for the year, calendar 2020. I wanted to do that one, but I wanted to save it on the info.txt. I could just say, okay, info.txt has it. I could do the same thing with this. I could put the 2020 here, or I say, no, that's not the only command I missed. I missed thousands of other commands. I could just say script minus a for append info.txt. Now, everything else that I type in here, 2020, and then say calendar of 20, let's say calendar 1970, get that calendar, and then say run the who command, run the uname minus a command, and then exit. Now the info.txt has all those commands for it, and then exit out. So you are basically capturing it with using the script command. On Windows, there's no script command, but there's PowerShell commands. You could do PowerShell, and then the command is actually start script, start dash script. And then the name of the file, I could just give it, say, info.txt or whatever I call it. And then here, I could get into PowerShell and capture, start the script. Let me just see. I think that PowerShell is called start the script. Let me see, start script. Yeah, PowerShell first. and then start script. Script start maybe, script start, and then name of it is info.txt, and then let me just Google it for a second. Google.com and PowerShell start the script. Start the script. I did use this, I think it's called a start the script. I haven't done it for a long time. I don't recall the actual command on Windows in PowerShell, but let me see if I can figure it out. Script PowerShell help. I'll find out that one and I'll tell you guys next time. I just don't recall it right now. I think it's all start the script or something, script the start, one of those commands. And then you just basically start it and then end script afterward instead of typing exit. But yeah, if it is, this assignment is just one-line pager, you can do a save image. You could do snipping tools. For example, if you just start the snipping tool, in Windows, you can write snipping tools, run this, and basically cut and paste the image however you want it, like this. You could just capture certain part of it like that and then save it as a file, save it as, and then send it to me that one. So you could do it as an image as well. But if it is more lines, you either want to use Linux script or PowerShell, that one. For this assignment, you could do just a snippet tools and capture it that way. So this one is finished. Let me just go next here and then next. Install the vision. No, this is from other window. So I want to just finish it. And that installed my PyCharm. The one and that is happening here. I don't know if this is previous version. No, it's new one, 2020. Does anybody have any other question? We're almost, we're already done from the lecture. I'm going through my office hours. and I'll figure out the PowerShell transcript part. I think it's called transcript rather than just a script. You start the transcript and then it saves it, and then you end it. It will be done there. If you have further questions, stay online until the meeting, office hours is over. Otherwise, you're welcome to leave if you're done with tonight's lecture.
Sir, can we use screenshot to capture the screen?
Yeah, you can capture the screen like I showed you here on the snipping tool. You could capture any other screenshots that you could capture it. You could do it. You're welcome to use it. And then some of the assignment that were assigned for next week, they're just due on the 12th. And so nothing else is due until the 12th. Here, the
Professor?
2020 come in. Yes, please go ahead.
On the Py file that we're doing for next week,
Yeah.
it does say strictly to keep it 3 lines, but is it okay if I add an empty input field at the end so that the program doesn't close?
Yeah. And anything that if I'm just saying that make it this or make it that way, you are not kind of going to be penalized if you just did something better. Okay, so anything that it is making your life easier and smoother or code better, do that one, and that's recommended. And sometimes we want to just make sure that when you submit it, make sure that the name of the file is not with spaces. Make sure that the code runs and make sure the indentation is right. The part where the format is how it looks for whether you have a missing dot or semicolon, that's not anything important, because we're not just grading you for your jobs or something to make sure that the code runs all the time. We want to make sure that you understand the logic, semantic, and be able to code. When you have enough time, you are going to make it clean and nice format, obviously. The indentation and other ones are very important. The readability, the code is very important to make sure that your code is readable. Other than that, if I said make it only 3 lines and you did a 4 line or 10 lines, it doesn't matter. It's okay. But sometimes that this shorter amount of code is always concise and works properly. I'm not sure what you're referring with 3 lines and why I said it, or some of this is from previous semester.
Mostly, I just want to put an empty input field at the end so that I can test the program easier so that it doesn't close immediately after my inputs.
Yeah, I mean, throughout the semester, you will see a lot of these kind of things. So one thing that we will be discussing next time, if you remind me, when we are going to further discussion, I'm going to cover how to write exception handlers, how to do some code with try and exception conditions. So error handling and exception handling is part of your codes. Sometimes you want to make sure that the end user, the data that is coming as input, you validate on their data to make sure that data is what you want to read as input. If you're expecting an integer and the person write a floating point numbers or a string, you should check for that one. And how you check for that one is part of the coding with error handling and exception handling and data validations that we have to do. So we will test those one as well. And you will get good at it. The first few programs, and most people that they, as long as you submit it and it is accurate enough that it runs the code, you will get the majority of the points. But moving forward, it will be just like getting a little bit harder and more complex coding and other things. So as you build your skills, you will be tested based on that one. I won't test you on that kind of a skill on that I'm testing you maybe in the middle of the semester or in the final. So as you learn, I will test you on that and things. What we cover in the class, in the lecture, I take responsibility for covering everything, and I make sure that you take responsibility for learning it, and that's your job. And then that's I'm only basically testing for what we have covered, and then if you learn on top of it more, that's always better. I'm not sure if I answered the question directly or indirectly, but if you have any other further question, please go ahead. So I will not show any demo of this one for Python, because that's going to be a different topic when everybody is attending. Right now, I only see 7 people attending. So this is office hours. So I'm going to close this one, and then we will cover this one on a separate topic on another lecture. Anybody else has any other question?
No, I'm good, Professor.
Thank you. Is that Matt?
Yes, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you so much.
I enjoyed
PowerShell.
tonight's lesson.
Oh, nice. That's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. How's did you switch to computer science major?
No, I'm still a psych major, but I just enjoy taking computer classes. So
Okay. So I just found out that PowerShell transcript is called the start transcript. And it's basically you started and end stop transcript with PowerShell. So if I just go here and then say PowerShell, and then say inside here, I say start and dash transcript, and then info.txt is the name I want to start with. Let's see if it says start dash transcript. Yeah. Start transcript dash path, and then dash path, and then and give it the path name. By default, if you don't say dash path, it puts it in the default directory. Start transcript. Oh, transcript. So this one is started. Now I'm saying, for example, Python. I go to say this one, and I say, let's say I say create a list of, let's say just quick a list x4 xn range of 10 numbers, just 0 through 9, and then L, and then say for item and list print, let's say item plus item, just multiply it, add it to itself. So we did that one, and now I'm going to exit out of this one, and then here where I say the start transcript, I'm going to say stop transcript, and then I don't have to give the path name, because by default it knows that that's the one I saved it. So now I exit out of PowerShell, I go info.txt, it has all the commands that I wanted to capture. It says started Windows PowerShell, similar to Linux, but it has some overhead information here that if it is not needed, you could just remove it afterward. But where I said Python, get into Python, right here it capture all the information there. So PowerShell is also useful there, and in that sense. And then by exiting out of that one, I exit out of PowerShell. It's captured the whole information. Okay, so that's good. So start transcript, we already found that one. And this one, I will just do another time. Okay, so Matt is there, Sarah. Sarah, do you have any question?
No question.
Okay, great. Okay. I'm gonna stop recording because I don't have any question. Most likely, we could just wait to see if anybody else has any question. Otherwise, we could end the session. So for now, I'm gonna stop recording.